Hey everyone, it's Brent the Middleman, your middle age, middle manager, and middle America, here today with an ending explained video for season 3 of the Apple TV horror series Servant. With season 4 coming out January 13th, and yes, that's Friday the 13th, I thought it would be a great time to put out this video. Also, spoiler alert for all 3 seasons of the show, but I will be starting with a brief spoiler free review for those of you who are thinking about watching it, and I'll let you know when I'm getting it into the spoiler filled ending explain part. Also, here's your obligatory please hit the like and subscribe buttons to help the channel reach its goal of 10,000 subscribers. And for those of you that just pressed them, thank you. For those of you that didn't, hopefully I can win you over. So, with that out of the way, go grab a bottle of wine from the cellar and a dead animal to cook up, because here we go. First, let me give my brief spoiler free review. I'm still trying to decide what I think about Servant. Most of the time, I found myself enjoying the eerie, slow build, which is a hallmark of any M. Night Shyamalan led project. But Servant, much like his movies, can be very hit or miss. For example, I found the Dorothy character to be extremely irritating. Perhaps this is what they were going for, but was I really supposed to root against the main character this hard? By the end of season 3, I found myself hoping that Leanne would end up with Sean and the three of them could be a nice happy family. I doubt this is what the writers wanted me to feel, but maybe I'm wrong. I was definitely entertained most of the time, but the other emotion I felt was frustration, and this had me yelling at the TV on more than one occasion. This is why I can't decide if I loved the show or hated it, and maybe that means the show accomplished its mission. I would definitely recommend Servant to fans of M. Night Shyamalan and the horror genre, but if that's not your thing, then there are definitely better options out there. Okay, now for the spoilers and my thoughts on the ending of season 3 and where I think things may be headed in season 4, which I think could be the wildest season yet. At the end of season 3, we see the Turners' godless house is rotting from the inside out, just as Uncle George pointed out. Because of this, termites had eaten away at the wooden banister, which caused it to break, sending Dorothy 3 stories down. It seems pretty obvious that this was all part of Leanne's plan, because Dorothy was definitely not going to stop trying to get rid of her. We get a shot of Dorothy at the end, and it appears she is breathing and still alive, so it looks like in season 4 she will be paralyzed and stuck in bed, which will drive her even more insane as she sees Leanne continue to replace her as the woman of the house. Like I said earlier, I was completely rooting for this to happen, as Dorothy is just an awful person and a completely unlikable character. And I'd love to know in the comments if you felt the same way, or if you think this is what the writers are going for. In fact, all the main characters are pretty unlikable, and I'm really hoping that one of the crazy cult groups somehow comes out victorious. But despite my feelings about the characters, I'm actually excited for a season 4, as everything is built up to this. The house is continuing to decay, much like Dorothy's sanity, and both get worse and worse as the evil grows within Leanne. Leanne and the power within her seems tied to the house. They represent this with her sitting by the hole in the basement and showing the water bubbling when she gets angry. There is darkness rising up in the house, just like it is rising up in Leanne, now that she has been corrupted by the Turners and has a taste of how good it feels to be bad. The Church of Lesser Saints were keeping her evil at bay and were harnessing her power to help people. So, despite their methods, the cult was actually right. These harsh methods, however, helped to drive the homeless kids to follow Leanne after they were inspired by her breaking free from the church to walk her own path, which is leading her to evil. The church and its methods are definitely a commentary on the world today, which is represented by the Turner family. Couldn't help but notice that the Turners check off nearly every one of the 7 deadly sins. In Dorothy, we see pride, greed, envy, and wrath, in the way she treats people, especially coworkers, and the way she deludes herself by just blocking out her worst failures. In Sean, we see gluttony for sure, as almost every episode shows him cutting up dead animals or killing animals in order to cook giant meals that they never seem to even finish eating. And Julian helps wrap up the list with lust, greed, and sloth. He has zero self control, which he tries to fix in season 3, but ends up failing miserably. Sean also attempts to be a better person by attending church and feeding the homeless, but at the end of the day, he gives into his pride and turns these things into a way to promote himself and make money. And right there, Egging them all along is Leanne. She started off with good intentions, wanting to help the woman she saw on the news as a child, the woman she viewed as the perfect mother, since her own mother was abusive. But when Leanne discovered that Dorothy let her own child fry in a car, the evil started brewing. This is when we first see the cracks in the foundation of the house starting in season 1, and by season 3, the entire foundation is crumbling and the house is infested with rot and insects like maggots that are associated with death and decay. The church rescued Leanne from the Turners in season 1, but in season 2, they found her and dragged her back to the evil of their home. And who did all the dragging? Dorothy. She even buried Leanne alive. This is where my frustration with the show comes in. How can Sean and Julian continue to worry about Dorothy remembering that her son is dead and just let her do these horrible things? I don't care how much they love her, she has gone too far, and this is why I was happy to see her fall in season 3. As far as what we will see in season 4, I think we'll definitely see a battle of the cults. At the end of season 3, we saw Uncle George the Gray return as Uncle George the White and found out that he has been using Roscoe to get close to Leanne. And we know that Leanne has now formed her own cult with these homeless kids in the park. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these two groups battle it out. And right in the middle of this will be the Turners and their rotting house. I think there is also a good chance that Leanne will be pregnant with Julian's baby, and this will complicate the budding romance they seem to be setting up with Leanne and Toby. And there is a pretty good chance that Leanne tries to make a move on Sean with Dorothy out of commission. I also believe that Dorothy will still be alive, but will be paralyzed and stuck in bed, and Sean and Julian will have to take care of her while also dealing with the larger battle of good and evil that will be happening around them and their rotting house. Dorothy is definitely the wild card of season 4. Leanne showed her the open anchor position, so if she is alive and can walk, maybe she goes for that. I don't see that happening though, and at some point, she is going to have to remember that the original Jericho is dead. Maybe this happens while she is stuck in bed, so she isn't able to kill herself like she has attempted to do before when almost remembering what happened. And will she finally realize that Leanne and the new Jericho are tied together, just like Sean and Julian finally realized? I think that Leanne will go full evil, and we may learn that little Jericho is actually the spawn of Satan. Well, technically the original Jericho was too, since he was Dorothy's kid. Oh, and just an interesting side note, John Lennon of the Beatles has two kids, one named Sean and the other named Julian. And he had a song called She is a Friend of Dorothy. Think the writer did that on purpose, or is that just a crazy coincidence? So, what do you guys think? Will Dorothy finally remember she killed Jericho? Will the two cults fight it out in a battle between good and evil? Will Satan rise up through the floorboards and sink that godless house? I don't know, but I'm obviously invested in the show, even though I do have some problems with it. I'm definitely looking forward to season 4. And as always, I would love to hear your theories in the comments below. And if I happen to have won you over, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll put a couple videos up here so that you can watch while you wait for the next one. Once again, I'm Brent the Middleman, and I'll see you next time.